This is Ashley Walls with the Department of Urban and Regional Planning and the University of Illinois Extension. During the spring of 2012, the Elmwood Development Association in the city of Elmwood, Illinois, worked with the University of Illinois Extension, also known as Extension, and Ashley Walls, a graduate student in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, also known as DURP, at Illinois, to complete a 3-year strategic plan that would guide the EDA in optimizing their time and resources. During this process, the EDA identified the desire for a recreation and parks district. In addition to the parks and recreation, the EDA noted that more social activities were needed for youth and adults. The collaboration between Extension, DURP, and Elmwood was extended to include a focus on multi-generational planning and active living by design as a solution to 2 of the improvement areas identified during the EDA strategic planning process. In August of 2013, the Elmwood Multigenerational Planning Steering Committee was formed to create processes and systems that allow the city to intentionally implement elements of multigenerational planning that enhance the appeal of the rural area. This tele-institute provides information on multigenerational planning, including societal trends, planning elements that can be used to effectively create a multigenerational area, and successful examples of multigenerational initiatives. Ultimately, Elmwood selected multigenerational planning as the people first model that would prepare them to retain and attract new citizens in hopes of an increased consumer base and local investment that will enhance economic growth. According to the American Planning Association, by 2040, the oldest and the youngest populations combined will make up almost half of all U.S. residents. Currently, youth and elderly needs are considered problematic in planning. Multi-generational planning is a holistic approach that takes into consideration the needs of all age groups throughout all stages of planning. This planning strategy also addresses how government policies, zoning, and building codes can be changed to ensure generational equality and access. As shown on the chart, the share of the U.S. population living in multi-generational family households is on the rise. In 1940, approximately 25% of the family households were multi-generational, but by 1980 had declined to only 12%. Within the past 30 years, the trend has risen again to over 16% in 2010. Much of the research on multi-generational planning highlights the ways in which family dynamics change following rough economic times, including increased unemployment and housing foreclosures. An increase in generational interdependence encourages families to bring resources together to improve the quality of life for community members of all ages. Too often, the physical design of the built environment limits the accessibility and conveniences of life for elderly and youth, thus leading to the perception that youth and elders are issues. In general, the senior population prefers to age in place, is less likely to relocate, and represents the majority of homeowners. Aging is associated with health problems and limited physical ability, which impacts mobility in and around the house, as well as to the store, doctor's appointments, and more. Another factor for multi-generational living is the wave of immigrants to the United States since 1970, especially of Latin and Asian origins. In these cultures, it is common to live in a multi-generational family household with children, youth, parents, and grandparents living under the same roof. The racial and cultural background of families living in the United States greatly influences their tendency to live in multi-generational households. While the aging population is white, the Hispanic and Asian populations are the 2 fastest growing ethnic groups, and they represent a growing youth population. Families with children under 18 years of age constitute 1/3 of the total population. Multi-generational planning intentionally addresses the need and desire for people to age in place, reduce health problems, and accommodate people with limited physical abilities, and focuses on the built environment as a way to improve living spaces for people of all ages. Intentional multi-generational planning strives to make cities and neighborhoods accessible, safe, and inclusive for children, youth, families, adults, and the elderly. It also allows people to age in place, promotes civic participation by all, and tackles the common and specific concerns of each age group. When planning across the lifespan, communities and neighborhoods are developed with safe, walkable streets in mind, provision of a range of services nearby, structure for civic engagement and recreational activities, and affordable housing. Planning that designs physical spaces and processes for the lifespan can make life easier for growing multi-generational households and families. Urban planners have an opportunity to approach development that emphasizes multi-generational planning. 4 strategies that can be applied by planners are: work with communities and encourage alliances across diverse organizations and systems. The intersection of organizations and local initiatives allows planners to begin discussing assets in the community and opportunities for collaboration. Next, planners can facilitate processes with residents of all ages in leadership positions throughout the community. Dialogue and engagement from people of all ages is the most critical component of multi-generational planning. Cross-demographic participation ensures that citizens' needs are being met and reduces competing interests and resources. Understanding how generational differences impact communication, problem-solving approaches, values, and the ways in which people want to contribute to their communities. Identify youth and elderly as clients with resources. Planners can also focus on creating places, practices, and policies that promote interaction across ages. Smart growth principles are imperative to multi-generational planning. Lastly, planners can use universal design elements to strengthen multi-generational implementation. As mentioned earlier, smart growth elements are needed to effectively implement multi-generational strategies. Smart growth leads to communities with more choices and personal freedom, good return on public investment, greater opportunity across the community, and a thriving natural environment. There are 10 elements of smart growth discussed in this presentation. Mixed land use puts residential, commercial, and recreational uses in close proximity to one another and seeks to create alternatives to driving. Compact building design suggests that communities be laid out in a way that preserves more open space and that individual buildings make more efficient use of land and resources. Housing is a critical part of the way communities grow because it constitutes a significant share of new construction and development. More importantly, housing availability is also a key factor in determining households' access to transportation, commuting patterns, access to services and education, and consumption of energy and other natural resources. Walkable communities ensure that goods, such as housing, offices, and retail, and services, such as transportation, schools, and libraries, are located within an easy and safe walk. They also create a streetscape for a range of users: pedestrians, bicyclists, transit riders, and drivers. To foster distinctive, attractive communities with a strong sense of place, there should be set standards for development that respect community values of architectural beauty and distinctiveness, as well as expand choices in housing and transportation. Open space preservation supports smart growth goals by bolstering local economies, preserving critical environmental areas, improving community quality of life, and guiding new growth into existing communities. Smart growth directs development toward existing communities, already served by infrastructure, seeking to utilize the resources that existing neighborhoods offer, and conserve open space and irreplaceable natural resources on the urban fringe. By coupling a multimodal approach to transportation with supportive development patterns, smart growth creates a variety of transportation options. Governments that make the right infrastructure and regulatory decisions will support fair, predictable, and cost-effective smart growth that is supported by private capital markets. Private investors are needed to implement smart growth practices. Key actions in encouraging collaboration include developing an inclusionary process and a common understanding among diverse stakeholders, using effective and appropriate communication techniques, and working with local authorities. According to the Center for Inclusive Design and Environmental Access, universal design makes things more accessible, safer, and convenient for everyone. It developed in response to the diversity of human populations, their abilities, and their needs. Universal design now will help prevent costly construction in the future. Components of universal design are equitable use to accommodate the skill set and capacity of people with diverse abilities, design that accommodates a wide range of preferences and abilities, design that is easy to understand regardless of the user's experience, knowledge, language, skills, or current concentration level, design that communicates necessary information effectively, design that minimizes hazards such as software applications that provide guidance when the user makes an inappropriate selection, design that can be used with the minimum of fatigue, design that provides appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulation, and use regardless of the user's body size, posture, or mobility. Examples of multi-generational initiatives are Hope Meadows in Rantoul, Illinois. Hope Meadows is an innovative residential community, a 5-block small town neighborhood where children adopted from foster care find permanent and loving homes, as well as grandparents, playmates, and an entire neighborhood designed to help them grow up in a secure and nurturing environment. Generations of Hope is a unique program that changes the lives of foster children, retirees, and families by enabling them to create their own neighborhood and forge their own network of caring relationships. Residents belong to one of the 3 groups often at risk of being marginalized in American society: kids caught in the child welfare system, families that adopt children with special behavioral and emotional needs, and retirees who are seeking continued purpose in their daily lives. Another example is Laura Beta Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. Therapy Garden for Laura Beta Hospital in Chicago was developed in conjunction with the Chicago Park District. The garden is a joint-use garden with outdoor therapy facilities integral to a playground, fountain, and walks connected to the Chicago Park District's lakefront and bike path. Our last example is nationwide. Lanier Corporation has launched a new concept tailor-made for multi-generational family living. The home is basically a house within a house, a smaller living unit next to the main home designed to provide independence but also access to the rest of the family household. The 2-story Zinfandel home has 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms in the main home with a family room and 2-car garage. In addition, it has an ample 789 square foot suite with 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a kitchenette. The suite has its own garage, a separate front entrance, and an internal door connecting to the main home. Depending on local zoning rules, some homes can have full kitchens, others are restricted to kitchenettes with a microwave but no stove. Similarly, some municipalities permit the space to be used as a rental, others prohibit it. As one of the nation's largest home builders, Lanier has been rebounding strongly from the housing crash. In this series of tele-institutes on multi-generational planning, 2 additional institutes will follow. The second recording will detail the City of Elmwood's process for integrating multi-generational activities in their city. The third and last tele-institute will report on the outcomes of Elmwood's multi-generational steering committee following 8 months of operation. The recording will reveal Elmwood's next steps for sustaining multi-generational plans.